Morning, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Great.
I want to welcome you all to the City of Laredo Blue Ribbon Committee for People with Disabilities. Today is Wednesday, July 19th, 2023. And I would like to call the meeting to order. And the first one is, second item is the review and approve minutes for June 21st, 2023. So, but since we don't have a quorum, we'll just wait to see if we can. Any public comments?
No public comments were
Okay.
registered, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. The next item is report from Christine Reyes, Special Needs Program.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I do also have Oscar and Sandra here with me that's under our program that focus on emergency preparedness. So I'll give my brief report and then I'll turn it to Sandra and Oscar just to report what we're doing on the education side. Our program has been partnering up with the Laredo Medical Center and other partners such as TAMU, ECI, and SCAN. We are developing as a group partnership a brain bag initiative in the local hospital. A brain bag is an educational element that's given to a newborn, new mom, just so that they have school readiness, get that early education for literacy, and then also give them the education of developmental milestones. So our role as a program was to automatically get that referral system of NICU babies into our program so that we already start early intervention for them, giving them resources, giving them services. So I'm really happy to already start that as a foundation for the program and the master plan, because our goal was we were starting either at a late age, late age, but now we're able to start at newborn to be able to assist with the education and development, and then be able to have the developmental screenings, as well as if the child has a physical disability, we're able to assist them with the resources and medical home education. So that initiative will be launched in the month of August. We'll be able to share information on the release of that presentation at LMC as soon as that invitation gets to us. Again, the brain bag is starting for new moms, newborns. Other than our program, we created an initiative to get other programs to get involved here at the health department, such as Healthy Living, Juntos for Better Health, Healthy Texas Women and Babies. So it's not only the moms, and also WIC, it's not only that are we focusing on the newborns and their quality of life and well-being, but we're also focusing on the mothers as well. So that's a great initiative that we're going to be presenting soon to the community, and I'm happy to share it with you all. Next week, Operation Border Health Preparedness is underway. It's a week-long event where there's services provided to our community, which is also an emergency preparedness exercise for our health department and other partners. Our area, we were able to get 2 areas in this event that are going to focus on developmental screening. So we will have partners on site and being able to share with the school districts, Head Starts, and learning centers. For children 0 to 5, we will be providing on-site ASQ evaluations. Of course, if there's any concerns and the evaluations come to low to high risk, we're going to have resources on site and pathways. So we will be there at Christian Middle School. It's going to be starting Monday of next week, ending on Friday from 8 to 5. We are also partnering, Ms. Jacqueline's not here. We're going to be partnering with Ruthie B. Cal this year again for the respite care camp. The individuals or the children that are registered, we're going to be assisting them with enrolling them into our program to receive additional services or resources they might need, but they will also be receiving emergency funding cards this year. So we'll be there on site on Friday from 1 to 5 p.m. at Ruthie B. Cal for the respite care camp that they're presenting. I'm sure Ms. Jackie will be able to share the flyer with us. If not, I'm happy to share it with the group. That respite care camp is going to be hosted at Ruthie B. Cal, and I believe it's a carnival theme this year. So I'm really looking forward to that, but we will be on site as a booth partnering up with Ruthie B. Cal for those resources and services. And let me turn it over to Ms. Sandra.
So just I'll introduce really quickly. Iris had decided, our former public promotion specialist, to return to full-time teaching. So we did have to do some quick thinking for our project with NACHO. So we do have Ms. Sandra Gonzalez. She was a program promotion specialist with our COVID strike team that provided outreach and education throughout the community. She's been with us in other roles as well. She was a former sanitarian and also with another division that escapes me, but she has a broad experience with public health and now is assisting us with the emergency preparedness here. Also a recent MPH, a master's graduate in public health, so we're very excited that she gets to help us out in this project and finalize some of the things that we had currently working. So I'll let her.
Thank you for the introduction.
Of course.
And it's great to be here. Currently, I am working on the EOP plan along with Ms. Christine Reyes and assisting the NACHO for the current projects that the Iris did before. So the EOP plan, it focused on all the available emergency planning and accessible accommodations for people with disabilities, and also been working also on the extreme heat educational webinars for the city interpool aquatics program and the future training as well. As Ms. Reyes mentioned, OVHP is coming next week. So a representative from the UT, University of Texas of Austin Disability on Access Education Center will be here next week, all week from Monday through Friday. And he's going to have the assistive technology offering the examples for AT&T compliance, and he will have a booth, for people with disabilities that they can use as resources for any emergency preparedness as well. The OVHP, Operation Border Health, is going to have the vision, hearing, developmental education, and services such as vaccines. We do have a common room that will be available, so that's going to be something new. And then also introducing the service animals that's in the EOP plan as well. And we want to have that space for the service animals because it is important for them to have, while the person with disability is there with them, they need to have their own space as well. And make it more inclusive and for everybody.
Echoing what Sandra was mentioning, I know she's also we created a survey for on-site. As individuals come by through the services or families that come into the developmental screening, a survey can be very brief. It's going to provide them with 5 questions regarding if they have an emergency family plan, how well they prepared, and any suggestions or recommendations to services that could be on site for them during an emergency, a disaster. So we will have a 5 questionnaire survey on site for them. It will be a QR code that they can easily access, and so it gives us more insight on what we can share with our partners, fire, PD, and then as well as the health department here for FEP. And then also echoing on the assistive technology, it will be in our area so that as soon as the children from 0 to 5 get the developmental screening, if they're low to high risk, there's programs for them such as Aspen study program from UT and the assistive technology. One of the coolest aspects of the assistive technology, one of the representatives from UT is going to bring a new gaming assistive technology. And now that gaming is so popular, they had access to that technology. They're going to bring it and sample it, and then they provide us. I'm going to share with you information and a referral system for the UT program, which is free. And it also gives them families the virtual demonstration and assistance and webinar support for technical assistance if they need it. So it's a great program. It's completely free. And if the child, young adult, or adult needs that assistive technology, there's financing and assistance that they can apply for grants, scholarships, and stipends for. So it's a lot of opportunity out there. And then, Oscar?
Adding on to what Ms. Sandra was saying about service animals, there's a lot of due to the extreme heat, there's a lot of fleas going on since heat can increase the amount of fleas. That's one of the flyers that I made. I created 3 flyers, one on service animals, power outage preparedness, and another one on drought preparedness. The reason I chose those 3 flyers is because since heat is a big concern with medical equipment and service animals in general, the power outage mainly focuses on like the medical side, which is like people that have medical equipment, what to do in case if the power goes out, where to go, who to call for help. And as for the drought preparations, well, preferably almost every technology can overheat, so for a drought preparation, it's recommended for them to stay indoors, preferably, like anybody that has an oxygen tank or any sort of medical equipment that needs to be regulated or just in general that can't be exposed to the heat. As for anybody else, then just drink plenty of water and try not to stay in the direct sunlight for long. And those are the 3 measures.
Those that don't know Oscar, we are very happy to host him for some work experience through a project that we all know, and it couldn't have been a better fit. He has an environmental science background, so he's really catching a lot of those themes that we need to share with our community that are specific to our community, and also taking into consideration those items that we might not consider but are very critical for those families that have a person with a disability.
And that's our report.
Can I go back to you?
Yes.
Your brain bag.
Can I interject? I found the service animals fascinating because I have a customer that I'm working with in San Antonio. He has a chicken. That's the service animal. So
Oh my goodness.
pick up the eggs.
Wow, chicken.
I've seen chickens, I've seen goats, I've seen horses, a variety of animals that people feel comfortable with. And while they can take some of them with them, they can't take others. Dogs are usually the norm, or a cat.
I've never heard
Or
of
a
a
rabbit.
chicken.
But a
Have
chicken.
you?
Chicken.
Wow.
It's a very pretty chicken. It has yeah, it's very
Definitely.
Christine, come back. Brain bag. Tell me, is there a requirement that you have a specific diagnosis or a potential diagnosis, or is this just generic for anybody who's pregnant?
So we just learned from LMC that there's roughly a minimum of 300 babies born per month in their facilities. So 300 babies are going to be able to receive all the information. Within those 300 babies, there might be a specific percentage of NICU babies that are still going to get the referral to our program and the assistance. But the goal is to educate every child because, again, developmental disabilities, or an IDD condition or diagnosis, it has a diagnosis rate of 2 years and up. So it's just continuous education of the milestones. So every child is going to get a brain bag, and the education and then guidance to the developmental screening. So on a directory form that we did create, and I'm sorry I didn't have it on site for us, but has a QR code. Other than a referral system to our programs for the mother and for our program, there is a QR code that explains developmental screening and the importance. And so it starts in newborn.
We made a name for it. Was it
Oh yes,
Embrace?
it's called Embrace, Empowering Mothers. All these acronyms, I'm sorry. Empowering mothers, babies, and for assistance and caring education. Oh, yes.
Wow. Yeah, we're really good, and we need to revisit that. That's a very good observation. But so in short, to your question, no, there's really no eligibility requirements. We're just trying to share information. And this is in line with the CDC, Learn the Science Act early, right?
Yes.
So that's another outreach project that they have. And we're trying to incorporate some of that education into our local community with that. So it's very general. We understand, even from pulling from our own personal experiences, it's a very chaotic time, and the more information, the more empowered moms feel, that the better support they can have. Yeah.
Yeah, but identifying the milestones is very important. Most people don't know unless they go to Google and try to figure it out.
Right.
And the goal with that too is to have a system. Right now, I know I had mentioned in the in previous meetings, the Help Me Grow framework of what we're trying to do here is something of our foundation of what we want to build. And this Embrace project, the Developmental Screening Beyond project, we have other projects that align with this to create a whole. It's almost like a major project for being able to have early detection, early intervention, and just resources for the families. So that's our foundation for the master plan of being able to target these families in the system, as well as helping with early intervention in the pathways. And in that foundation, we have the autism surveillance, things like that, because it starts with that data resource and being able to. So I'm hoping by next month, I'll have somewhat of a visual of it, because we still are meeting with partners, because the Help Me Grow framework that we are looking at has different partners, and within us in our community we have TAMIU, ECI, SCAN. So I want to be able to develop a better visual understanding of where we all are at and what's the foundation of this framework for us, so that we can start at birth and then be able to carry on through the transitional stages of a child or young adult's quality of life and well-being.
Thank you. You know, it's very important work. It's very valuable, because I know that when people are challenged, or parents are challenged, they have no clue where to go. And so unless their doctor sends them somewhere, and that doctor's very well informed, then they miss out. So yeah, it's good work.
And the good thing about this framework too, we're currently working on building a pediatrician coalition. So a pediatrician coalition, and it will involve family practices. Because we know that by age 1, if the mother doesn't want to have a pediatrician and a family doctor, they're able to. But we do want to involve this whole frame and network, because they're going to be the key source also to be able to refer or know what programs are out there, and then help alleviate some of the burnout that they might have of not knowing of the resources that could help their patients, or being able to let us be that foundation of education for them.
And when is this coming around?
We're currently working on the projects. So what we're doing right now as far as the master plan, year 1 is the capacity building. So we are gaining the partners, we are collaborating with them, and we're sitting down and planning. But we haven't fully integrated all partners, because the capacity building would take about the year to see who can come into play. But I know about a month ago we went to the Multi-Assistance Center. That's possible collaboration there, to where we can input in capacity building to make sure that this framework, it doesn't have any gaps of services. So other than technical assistance, getting everyone involved, education and training, not only for the providers, but for the families.
And specific to engaging the providers, that's feedback that we received during the town halls. We hear that loud and clear. We hear it from families. We hear it from stakeholders. So there are several initiatives where we're trying to see what the best approach would be to have them fully engaged in this type of initiative. We're also working with some partners on bringing in some type of conference or workshop that would provide them with continuing education, and that way it could be directed to these type of services, or just more knowledge on diagnosis, or kind of what the framework would look like locally. And we're hoping to do that.
Our goal
we have a meeting this afternoon, but
Yes.
hope this year for sure we want to launch kind of that first workshop for physicians.
That's a great idea.
Okay. Item 5 is a report from Veronica Abduño. Autism.
Or that'd be the, I'm sorry.
So you were putting on the Autism Coalition.
Yes, so good morning. Last time that we met, we meet like the day after, we all meet. We had a very good turnout because we had been having very low turnouts, and last week or last month this was packed, it was packed. And there was a lot of discussion. We talked about the autism screening tools that are out there. Dr. Mireles suggested some to Christine. We talked about, we gave out, or Laredo PD gave out their disability enrollment form that they have. There's a disability enrollment form for Laredo Police Department for all disabilities. It doesn't have to be autism. Any disability that a child might have, and we have it, it's linked with the 911 system. So if the child is getting lost, and we talked about that because last month, at the beginning of the summer, we had like 3 little people, well, 2 little people and an adult that got lost, that wandered, and then the police were able to reunite them with their families. Some of them did have the form, some of them did not, so it goes through social media to be able to find their families because these kiddos were nonverbal. So on that form, you fill it out, it's on a voluntary basis, you fill it out, it tells you what language they prefer, if they have a nickname, what they like to do, their favorite movie, they even have a picture. But we talked about that, and it went out again to the business community that was here. We had, at that time, it was reported that we had 2 businesses who were already engaged in the business, the stakeholder pledge for the Autism Coalition. So we had 2 of them there, and the hot topics still continue to be a residential facility, and then the daycare system. Still the daycare. We have a lot of people whose children are still being, not serviced through the daycare systems in Laredo. So that's what we talked about.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So let me go back to the daycare. Is it the lack of availability? Is it lack of
Lack of
skill
training.
in how to deal with it?
It's lack of training on the provider's part because they don't know how to manage a child with a disability or with autism. So what ends up happening is they do take them, and then after a day or 2, they are uninvited because they can't provide for that. I know Christine has been training some daycares on that, but we're still not at where we should be. Okay, we need to be at maybe 50% of the daycares. I think that's a little high, right? But we need to be there so that our parents can have more places to go. Right now, whenever it's brought up on our page, it's like 2 or 3 of them only that we have that will take them. But remember, if they are at capacity, then they can't take any more children. So we have, I think, the Learning Smarty Pants that takes them, and then we have little schoolhouse that takes them, and then there's another one, but there's only 3 so far. Okay, we need more. We definitely need more.
And just to add what we learned during our workshops with Brighton Center coming down, in some cases, what I even learned is that the ratios do matter because if there is a child with a special health care need, the ratio for the facility needs to drop because of the care for that child. And sometimes, in most cases, these centers want to maximize the ratio so that they have the classroom set, and then depending on what specialty care they need on site, they do need might need a specialty training. And if not, they could just get a brief training of what the condition is so that they learn better how to accommodate and do have an inclusive environment. The concern of some of the learning centers was that if the ratios drop, funding drops, which makes sense because the lower the numbers, the less money that's coming in. So what Brighton Center was trying to educate the learning centers on was that even if they had a 50-50 ratio, they could maximize their profit through the state. So there's CCS funding. If the parent were to have do an application for the specialty care that their child requires, they would fund up to the max amount so that learning center could get that payback of what a full ratio amount would be for them. But learning centers are trying to learn that approach because it's never been done here before. Or the other concern we had was they didn't know that application existed with CCS. So we're trying. We've educated them in the last workshops. Again, it's the approach of being able to start integrating that practice. But it's also again the training of one. It's not so much saying if a child is in the learning center and they're showing signs of a developmental disability or some concerns and red flags, what's the next step? Well, mom, there's ECI, there's this program, let's get them developmental screening, and then being that educational foundation for them versus of here we can't work with the child. So we're trying to have them understand that it takes a village for this one child to be able to still give the parent the assistance of the care and then help the child and the parent navigate the process of being able to get that pathway for them. ECI is very supportive, resourceful in that where learning center, they're allowed to go into the learning centers to assist them. But again, it takes the learning center to be vocal about it and supportive about it. So I know ECI and myself are going to be having a meeting this month in August, the first week of August, to discuss our new learning workshop that's coming up. Typically, when it's the new school year, we try to do it in the summer. But this summer, since they were full capacity, it was hard for directors to come out, so we didn't find a good date for them to be in the workshop. They had promising dates in August and September. So we're looking at what dates in August and September to host another workshop. This one, of course, will always include the inclusive curriculum, also how to approach the families and integrate ASQ trainings for their learning centers. That's going to be key for any and every child. Whether they show signs low to high, the ASQ is always going to be a resource for the family to make sure that the child is hitting milestones even before school for school readiness. So I know Head Starts do it. I know, for instance, Laredo College does it for their learning center. It's just to see what other learning centers are wanting to integrate that into their curriculum to help the families. And I know it's a lot of work, to do the evaluations, have one-on-ones, and then still do the care. But again, this is why we developed the developmental screening and beyond. If the learning centers were having that issue, don't worry, send them to us. We'll be able to do this for you. So we work that referral system out. So we are trying to see where the gaps of services are to assist, again, to help the burnout of the learning centers, but also have some type of responsibility on their end to be able to say, you know what, we want to take the empathetic training, we want to take the sensitivity training, and we want to know about all the resources so that we just don't tell a mother and a child that they're no longer accepted. Here are the resources. So that's where we're at right now for our program.
Could I make a recommendation regarding the CCS? With my background as a contract manager with the Workforce Board, I know they used to have monthly meetings, if not quarterly meetings, where they bring all the directors, right, to this mandatory meeting, very well attended. I think that would be a great platform for this presentation, and you could really knock it out. You can contact Beth Damian, 722-3973, and coordinate through her at the Workforce Board. Oh, 722-3973. Beth Damian. Yeah, she can help you with that for the because they're the ones that have all the contracted CCS, and that's a great
That would be
platform.
great.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, of course, we'd all like to see kind of an immediate
I know, but it's going to be
change or adoption of what we're trying to see. But we are being very persistent with the almost quarterly trainings that Christine's program is doing, and then supporting that through the stakeholder pledge. That's additional training and support, and ultimately we want to empower these business owners, like the stakeholder pledge is trying to support. to feel comfortable enough and confident enough that they can review and revise their framework within their business plan.
And then if you bring them some subject matter experts, right, once you can plant the seed and then maybe you have another meeting and you've already planted that seed, bring the subject matter experts to have that conversation and educate them. I'm sure you can, tread water that way.
Yeah, that's a great recommendation. We'll definitely follow up.
All right, thank you.
Can I ask you something, Christine? You said that some of the adult daycares think it's not economically feasible because children need more care. But and so you made a statement that they need to apply for it. Do not most of these children qualify for home community-based services?
It depends on the community-based service. So we still educate the families to go the max amount or go the max resource. So if there's 10 community-based services and they're applying for one, we tell them to apply for all to see what they qualify for. Community-based services, if depending on what type of service, just like ECI, can be hosted within the learning centers and they can collaborate with, each partner can collaborate with one another to be on site. But community-based services are also recommended at home with some therapy opportunities, some independent living skills, or just resources in general. So in all with the community-based services, it's just a matter of the partners getting together and seeing where they both can benefit, and then their respected legalities are there.
Just because I know that HCS is based on disability level, and HCS primarily provides for day habilitation services, and so people, or rather providers, are paid a different level of, I guess, compensation based on how challenging the child that they're taking care of provides. So that's what I was asking.
Yes, I know we've heard a brief story from Brighton Center where there was a child that they had high care needs, whether it involved feeding tubes, it involved a new condition, and just like Laredo College, they expressed also a story where they ran into the same a parent, or not same parent, but same situation where the parent went and said, I need assistance with my child, I need care, they have this condition, and it was out of the realm of what they've had before. But they went and did some training, they got some education, and they were able to assist the mother and the child and be able to help the mom get a job and be able to take care of her child, and again, the quality of life and well-being, right? But again, it's when that happened, LC did contact our program. We gave them the resources. Again, we try our best to let the learning centers know that they're not alone. If there's anything that they might need, any resource, anything that might come to mind, depending on a child on their developmental delay, physical disability and need, we are here to help. And then if they don't have access to that equipment, how our program, they can do an application, or what resources out there, like for instance, Vail, or other partners that have these medical equipment opportunities and resources. So our goal, again, is, yes, to educate how all our resources can come together and be able to assist that organization or partnership to benefit just for the child, young adult, or adult that has a special health care need.
Thank you. I guess we can move on to the next item, introduction to our Autism Surveillance Division.
So I've been reporting for the last couple of meetings that we have been awarded a CDC grant for autism surveillance, which will provide the baseline incidence of autism in our community and have that concrete data that would then have us make better decisions on allocation of resources and then express our needs to the state and federal government. So I'm very happy to introduce Ms. Kathy Chavez. Chavez, right? I always change her last name. Kathy Chavez, she will be the supervisor of the program. And if the committee wishes, she can join us in the monthly meetings to provide updates. We are meeting, I think, every 2 weeks at CDC on just the kickoff for this project, making sure MOUs are in line, staffing is on board, and all the other background is kind of put in place so we can launch this. So this is a project that's contingent on the partnerships with the school districts, where we will obtain their data and data from health providers so that we can start identifying kind of the diagnosis and any co-occurring disabilities or other special needs. And so Kathy.
Yeah, of course. So thank you, Erica, for talking a little bit more about the project. Just to have a little bit more background, we're focusing on 4, 8, and 16-year-olds here in Laredo. So not the prevalence of all children, but just these specific age groups. And we're also, apart from finding the prevalence, we're also going to find the characteristics of this population. We're going to find out whether boys are more likely to be diagnosed versus girls, trying to see what the data tells us. And once you grab that data, we're going to give it to educators, stakeholders, policymakers, so they can go ahead and build those resources that these kids need. Maybe they need more support, maybe with their living situation, maybe they need more resources, in transportation. So finding that prevalence is going to be a key factor in kind of going along and helping out the movement, kind of bringing resources for people with disabilities, specifically with autism with this program. And like Erica said, I'll be more than happy to join these meetings if you guys need me to. I can go ahead and bring some reports on where we're at on a monthly basis if needed, and just give you guys any resources that we can provide to you from the division.
What's great is that Kathy comes already with some background in research. She was actually doing another project regarding autism from newborn to 2 years old, right? It was a longitudinal study with Brown University. So she has that background and knowledge on how to conduct these type of projects. So we're very excited about that. We have some internal staff that have transferred into this project because they were interested and passionate in this topic. So I think we're building a very, very strong team, and we're ready to go. And definitely the support, we just met with CDC this morning, the support from them for this to be successful as well.
And yes, you're welcome, Kathy.
I'll be more than happy.
Yeah, you keep us informed about what's going on. We appreciate it.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Next item is item 7, which is our announcements.
I have an announcement.
February. I know.
February.
The day after Thanksgiving.
Friday
He's
before
making it
Valentine's.
Yes, ma'am, you graduated, yes.
Thank you.
We're changing.
I was within 30 days.
No, I do have an announcement. It's not an announcement, it's a praise, really. I want to thank the health department for being trendsetters, but Dr. Chamberlain, Mr. Ricardo Gonzalez from TV says he's going to beat you at the number of people that he places for work experiences in the PD department. So it's a challenge.
We love a productive challenge.
No,
To the benefit of
seriously,
the community.
We do have some departments that we're working with for the summer and at the reception of the individuals who are nurturing and enhancing the quality of skills of the students who are here. It's phenomenal, and I have to say that across the board. And it takes a little bit. I know that in my case, I push and shove a lot, and I apologize for that. Not really. But but I really but I love the fact that I look at individuals who are placed in the different departments, and the reception that we receive is phenomenal. So I want to thank everyone who works for the city, who is striving to change the quality of life of individuals, not only for the individuals today, but for those that have not yet been born. So that makes a big difference, because we're making little puddles to make waves. So thank you.
Good job, guys.
Pats on the back. I do have an announcement also, if I may.
Sure.
I don't know if Erica has already shared with the group about the Healthier Texas Summit. We have been pushing out to conferences across the United States trying to ensure that our story here in the city of Laredo, and through the work of Blue Ribbon Committee and the work of the Autism Coalition, is being heard on the national level. Unfortunately, at the National Association of City and County Health Officials, they did not pick up our abstract, but they were very interested in what we're doing here. I'm pretty sure they want to see data, and then they'll broadcast it all over the United States. Of course, we're already working through that, as we do have organizations that are signed up. But the Healthier Texas Summit has selected our abstract to be presented to their conference, which has thousands of individuals attend from across the state of Texas. And what's most important at this time is as we're in an era of non-diversity, equity, and inclusion at the state level, we're gonna go shine for the city of Laredo, saying that we are DEI. We want this to be part of the culture, and we're gonna teach other municipalities of the great work that we did as a community and help them champion those causes by using what we have as a scaffold, the All Kinds of Minds Master Plan, for inclusion and diversity and equity across the state of Texas. And then hopefully with data, that we know we're gonna get the data, but hopefully in the future with data, we'll be sharing this story, as storytelling is one of our most important powers that we have at the national level. So just wanted to plug that for you all, pass on the back to you all here too. And we'll keep you all informed. That's happening October 5th and 6th in Austin. And anybody who hasn't had the opportunity to attend the Healthier Texas Summit, it is absolutely wonderful, inspiring. It helps to deepen that commitment and dedication to the causes that we're undertaking on a daily basis. So I'll sit down. Thank you.
And while,
So are you inviting us to go with you all?
Do we?
On your own terms? I'm sorry.
Good luck.
A little spicy there. Yes. That's why I sat down real quick. Bow out. Show's over.
We'll pay for our own coffee for you.
Oh, Mr. Castillo, thank you.
yes, it's very exciting. It's very important for us to tell our stories and the work that we're doing here, all collaborative. So we definitely understand the importance of the representation, and we hope to see it there. If we can't support it financially, but regardless, you guys will be in our minds and hearts, knowing that we are sharing all of our stories. And while we did not get picked up through NATIO, we did submit another abstract to the Public Health, PHNCI.
Innovation.
Yeah, the
Public Health Innovation, National
something
Innovation
Innovation.
Committee. PHNCI. National Innovation Committee.
And we're hoping to hear a favorable outcome on that. We think that the work that we're doing here is very innovative. But if not, any abstract, any submission that I see, I definitely continue to put our names in the hat so that we could possibly share at those conferences as well. So we'll keep you posted.
Okay, we appreciate that. Any other announcements?
Just reiterating the announcements that have kind of briefly been shared. OBHP is next week. That's our border health preparedness event. That is at Christian Middle School. Free to the public. All types of services are going to be provided, and of course, this new component, thanks to everyone's efforts here on a calming room, support for emergency preparedness, specifically for people with disabilities, and of course, all the other resources that will become available there. And then I know Ms. Jackie couldn't be here, but she does have her event on Friday. We will go ahead and pull the flyer and share it with the committee after the meeting.
Thank you. So is that the same thing as the Lone Star?
Yes, it was formerly Operation Lone Star, but I believe law enforcement got a project that was from a similar name, and we didn't want there to be confusion, so we went ahead
Yeah, it was
and
like
renamed.
the function seems the same, but the name was changed. So it's like,
Right, yes, it was for,
There was a stigmatizing element of the Operation Lone Star at the state level that we did not want it to be associated with the wonderful work that happens through Operation Border Health Preparedness now.
Okay, sounds fun. Sounds good.
And I understand it's gonna, I'm sorry, I understand it's gonna be indoors, right?
Yes, it's at
Getting a
the,
room,
No, yes, some of the elements that we're implementing in this OVHP event is from registration. If there's an individual deaf or hard of hearing or ASL, we're gonna have a assistant on site, just like when you go to a doctor's appointment, if you request assistance, there will be someone there, as well as assistive technology at registration, so that is a system to be able to communicate with the registration portion of it. All individuals that are doing vaccines got the certification for inclusive vaccination on ABA techniques. And then we also have an element of service animals. It's a practice, again, this is an exercise for us, but we wanted to implement the service animal area so that if they need a break, if there's someone that goes in. So we're implementing all this in the exercise, again, because it's part of our emergency operation plan. But including knowing that we're preparing for school readiness, the developmental screening and beyond project was implemented. So, again, if there's any concerns on site, we already have trainings of how to transition the individual into the calming room, and then also provide the families with toolkits before they go to the event itself. So,
This is at Kristen Middle?
yes. There was one question. I'm sorry.
On Friday, right?
It's
all week Friday next week.
Oh, Monday to Friday.
We'll share the flyers with you as well.
They implemented, they added to the flyer the developmental screening for 0 to 5. I know when, prior to this summer, I was contacted by several of the nurses from the districts. We want to help. I know that when school starts, these new students that are coming in, there are concerns for delays. So I'm trying to encourage schools, Head Starts, learning centers. Let me know if we could, how LISD and UISD can incorporate the flyer to share with new incoming students going into pre-K, pre-K3 to kinder, so that they can get the developmental screening, so it's early detection and early pathways. Because again, I heard the concerns when school starts, teachers are just overwhelmed, and we want to be that help. We want to make sure that the families are assisted with the resources they might need. And we still continue to partner with Partner Network Resource to give them that education on IEPs. So we will be having an upcoming webinar in August for that. So it helps prepares new incoming families as well as those that need more education on IEPs, individual education plans.
I do have one announcement before we wrap up. So I don't know if y'all recall Emma Faye Rudkin from the Aid the Silent. We reconnected at the Governor's Blue Ribbon Committee for People with Disabilities, and I said, Emma, our offer is still on the table to help these individuals in our community for hearing aids. So I spoke to our CEO and our senior management team, and one of our guiding principles, of course, is giving back to community. We've got that commitment. So we will be hosting Emma Faye and her team in collaboration with Dr. Jaciel Gonzalez, who's an audiologist, and we will be blessing 20 kids in Laredo with hearing aids. So that'll happen in September, October. So they're coming in August to do a run back, walkthrough, but it'll happen September, October. But I'll keep y'all posted. I thought that was amazing.
Very cool.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And speaking on the Governor's Committee for People with Disabilities, they did reach out to us again, just confirming members of our committee, our chair, and any other resources that are available through our city. My impression is that they are updating kind of their directory. I know in conversations during the meeting that we hosted here locally at LC, they talked about wanting to get the local chapters, local committees more involved. So anything that comes up through there, we'll go ahead and share with you all.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Next item is the adjourning the meeting. However, do we have enough individuals to
Oh, Martha has her hand raised.
answer because Ms. Sandiego seems to be there?
Yeah, we have to have 5 in person.
Everybody forgot about me. Not an announcement, more just again a thank you to City of Laredo for hosting some of our student participants for the summer endurance. And congratulations, Oscar. Right now I heard your presentation. Awesome job. Super proud of you. Keep up the good work, and I know you're trying your best. But thank you, Health Department.
Thank you, Martha. So do we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? We have 5 present, 1.
It doesn't count.
We still can't?
We need 6 in person, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
There was still a lot of good information shared. The committee couldn't take action on improving the minutes, so we'll
Okay, yeah.
go ahead.
Okay. Martha, you need to be here in person.
I will.
Okay.